What is going on, Thumb Thumbs? This is Swamperts bringing you guys our Week 7 Team Builder here for the LDL, the Lonely Draft League. Last week we took on Coach Anthony and the Victorville Victinis. If you guys missed that battle, definitely go ahead and check it out because it was a very, very awesome battle. A lot of fun tech that went on there and a very, very nice victory for us. Spoiler alert, but we are sitting now at 4-2, and this week, you guys, we are going to be going up against Mark and the Arizona Volcarona. And let me tell you guys right now, this was not an easy team builder. This was probably the most time I put in for a team builder ever. And at any time through any LDL league or any draft league that I have played through, this has been the one that has taken up the most time to team build for, just because of how threatening Mark's team is. But if you guys are excited to see where this team builder takes us, definitely leave a like and a comment down below. Just let me know what you guys are thinking about the team so far. Just so you guys know, we do now have Armaldo on our team, and we are waiting for next week to pick up Xploud. If you guys missed that video, I definitely have that on the channel as well. Definitely go ahead and check it out. But let's go ahead and get into his team. I'll discuss what I think he might be bringing, and we'll get into my team. First up is going to be the Thunderous Therium form. He has our Joey Galaxy that we've had 2 seasons in a row. It was really tempting not to draft him for a 3rd time, just because of how powerful Thunderous T can honestly be. It's got the Volt Switch ability, 101 base speed, I think a base like 130, 125. It's got a very stupid high special attack stack. I think it's like base 145 maybe. But it gets access to, of course, Volt Switch, U-Turn, which I think he might be taking advantage of just because we have Jolteon on our team as well, being a Volt Absorber. So you might want to run U-Turn over Volt Switch, but Thunderbolt, Focus Blast, Sludge Bomb, Dark Pulse Knockoff, Agility, Nasty Plot. This thing can do a whole range of things, so if he does decide to bring it, which I really believe he will, it's going to be very problematic to work our way around. Next up, another Pokemon I actually had on my team last year. It's going to be Entei. I've actually had Entei twice now. Once in Season 2 when I won the LDL, and then last season as well. But Entei, very powerful mon. Mainly, the main set you're going to be running with it is going to be Adamant Banded because of the extreme speed, because of the Sacred Fire from the event from Heart Gold and Soul Silver years and years ago. It just goes to show that this Pokemon is just super strong with that one set and one set alone. This Pokemon is, if he does bring it, I can only assume that it will be Adamant Banded. Sacred Fire has a 50% chance to burn. Extreme Speed being the top priority move in the game is going to suck, because it just will be hitting super hard. Other moves he could bring alongside it was he could get just a stronger fire move with Flare Blitz, as well as maybe some kind of rock move, Stone Edge of some kind, I have no idea. Espeon is the next mon on his roster. Espeon, very powerful mon, actually. Very scary for us this week if he does decide to bring it, just because it does get access to Magic Bounce. It's a base 110 mon. A very high special attack, and on top of that, you know, it could be Calm Mind, it could be Assault Vest, it can be a Trick Set. You know, there's a lot of fun things that you can do with Espeon, as well as on top of Magic Bounce, it can also get Synchronize as well. So we got to be very careful, especially with some of the strategies that we do have going on this week. We got to make sure that we don't poison ourselves or burn ourselves or whatever it may be. Up next is going to be Zygarde 50% form. I will say this right now, Zygarde does not get access to 1,000 Waves and 1,000 Arrows in the LDL, so that is good. However, that doesn't mean that this Pokemon is going to be extremely difficult to handle. It's kind of in the same boat as Entei, as it does get access to Extreme Speed on top of just being a very powerful hitter with Outrage. Banded Outrage pretty much 2-shots a lot of our team. Except for a very few, which is super scary. Earthquake also will do a lot of work. Extreme Speed, of course, it's Extreme Speed. It's gonna be able to help get those priority kills right away. You can also Dragon Dance if you really wanted to. You could Coil. There's a lot of different fun sets that could happen. If he does decide to bring it, I will almost. I admit I might think it might be a substitute set, just because a Dragon Dance or like a sub. Zygarde will be able to honestly will be able to put up a lot of work, because I don't have too many mons that would be able to break the substitute on it. Up next is going to be the Hitmontop. Hitmontop, very weird mon, I think, if he does bring it. I mean, it does have its uses. I mean, it can Rapid Span, Close Combat, Mach Punch, all that fun stuff. Intimidate user as well. However, if he does decide to bring it, I do primarily see it as just being a a Rapid Spinner for hazards. I don't see it doing too much else, just because we do really easily handle it with a lot of things on our team. Next up is going to be Cryogonal, another Rapid Spinner, and even a Defogger now as of Gen 7 with Ultra Sun and Moon. Another very fast mon. I was realizing that Mark really does have a fast team against us. But Ice Beam, Freeze Dry, Rapid Spin, it just really does the work against us. It handles so many things on our team, and if Mark really wanted to be tricky, he could go ahead and get the Hail and the Aurora Veil. So hopefully he does not decide to do that. If this thing does come, I can only imagine that it's going to be an Assault Vest set, just because its special defense is actually quite high, which could be really problematic. It's just problematic. That's like the whole theme of this week. Next up is Mega Gyarados, the top #1 threat on his team for me, in my opinion. The reason why is just because with Mold Breaker, it can go ahead and hit our Levitate users, even though we don't have any. It can break through our filter on our Mega Aggron, hitting it a lot harder. It can Dragon Dance. It has such a wide moveset that our walls aren't going to be able to handle extremely well. After, I believe, 2 Dragon Dances, it can easily sweep us. 1 Dragon Dance we might be able to work with. But all in all, this is just a super scary mon. Hopefully I will be able to catch a really interesting switch on it to go ahead and knock it out early on in the game. However, it's very situational, as you guys will see as I get into the team builder. Up next is going to be Gengar. Gengar, of course, is just the... Gengar is going to be... the ultimate wall breaker on his team, even though he has a whole team designated for wall breakers. Like, seriously, his whole team is a wall breakers, which is super scary. But in regards to Gengar, it can do so many different things: Sludge Bomb, Shadow Ball, Thunderbolt, Energy Ball, Dazzling Gleam, Destiny Bond, Substitute, Scarf, Specs, Focus Sash. This thing is so stupid scary, and it's just... If he does decide to bring it, I can only imagine it to be Focus Sash or Scarf, which will be really problematic for our team. However, it does not have Levitate anymore, which is really nice. After Sun and Moon came around, they decided to give it Curse Body, so it means it can be hit by Earthquake now, which helps out a lot. Smeargle is another potential mon he actually honestly could bring you guys, just because Smeargle can basically learn almost any move in the game. It can be like a lead, like hazard setter. It can be a spore runner. It could be whatever it wants to be, and that's honestly the scary thing. The best thing is I'm stuttering. I've realized that. I think I've developed a stutter over working at my job and just trying to talk fast in these videos. But anyway, Smeargle just doesn't have the best defenses. That's what I'm trying to get out of my mouth. And because of that, hopefully I will be able to break it down really quickly before I can do anything that hurts me. And that's all I'll say about that. Another mon that is a big threat alongside Mega Gyarados is going to be the Bisharp. Just because Bisharp with Defiant really made me had to double think some abilities here on the team, just because after a Defiant boost, it can really honestly sweep and just do a lot of work alongside Sucker Punch. Sucker Punch just sucks. Let me tell you what, Sucker Punch is a move that honestly should not exist in this game. I hate Sucker Punch. I've never used Sucker Punch because I hate the move. I think it's a really stupid move altogether. And just this dual stab of Steel and Dark really does put in the work against our two of our main walls, being Slowbro and Florges. So if we do decide, if he does decide to bring it, which I honestly do believe he will, it's gonna be it's just gonna be a big issue, even if it's a Swords Dance, especially if it's Swords Dance Life Orb. And last on his team is Aromatisse. I'm not too worried about Aromatisse. It's just a bulky fairy type, Heal Bell, Wish Passer, kind of like our Florges, just Florges does the job better. So if he does decide to bring it, I mean, I'm not going to be too worried at all, honestly. It just, I don't really have much to say about it. And then finally, as you guys do see, he has the Fightinium Z, which is what is that on top of his Wall Breaker Mons is what has made this team building so difficult. Fightinium Z can go on the Thundurus for Focus Blast, the same as Gengar. It could go on the Cryogonal if it really wanted to. It could go on the Bisharp. It could even go on the Smeargle for some like tricky plays. But the Gengar and the Thundurus really benefit just because they get access to Focus Blast. Focus Blast, as you guys know, I'm one that never really misses Focus Blast. However, with that Titanium Z, Focus Blast is just not a problem for Mark. And when it comes to one of our main defenses being Mega Aggron, it's gonna be bopped. It's gonna be bopped really hard, which is stupid. But let's go ahead and get into our team, and as I was just talking about him, we're going to go ahead and lead off the team with Mega Aggron, you guys. Mega Aggron is going to be rocking a fully special defensive, I believe, Sassy set? No, Careful set. Very different move set this week, just because we really didn't need the Steel stab on it. I really wanted it to put in other work. So we have Avalanche there. Avalanche, for you guys that don't know, Avalanche is a move that doubles its base power after it's been hit. So Palladium is going to have to take a couple hits this week, and that will allow us to easily one-shot the Thundurus. It'll allow us to one-shot the Zygarde. It can really do a lot of work against the Smeargle, as well as the Espeon, if he really wants to run that route. And then Earthquake for just another cover move. It hits the Entei, it hits the Gengar, it hits the Bisharp, which is really wonderful. And even though I'm fully special defensive, as we do go down the moveset, you guys do see I'm running Stealth Rock this week. Being fully specially defensive isn't a problem for all the physical type attackers, except for maybe Entei, just because Filter does allow us to really eat up hits. I did say Mega Gyarados does really put in work against us if we're with that Mold Breaker ability. However, really, computer, I am in the middle of recording, and you decide to... I don't even have a Microsoft account. What are you doing? Anyway, but even being non-physically defensive, we still easily can't be two-shot by the Gyarados, and so that's why I ended up throwing counter on there. A lot of physical mons will be attacking us, that being the Entei, the Zygarde, the Mega Gyarados, the Bisharp, the Hitmontop, and if we feel like we're in a comfortable position to go ahead and click counter, say after a little bit of chip damage is done to these mons, well then they are gone. And this is honestly, even though I hate to rely on such a weird move like this being counter is going to be our main way to handle the Mega Gyarados. I'm going to say that right now. Mega Gyarados, that is our main way to handle it. Well, besides probably one other mon. But I also put Stealth Rock on there just because rocks help me get some of those kills that unfortunately might have been a two-shot. It's like it gets up there around like maybe the 75% range, and after a little bit of rocks chip damage, if he decides to switch out, you know, we will be getting those kills instead of not getting those kills, which is super helpful, especially if we can get 25% on that Mega Gyarados before it Mega Evolves, being flying type. So that's going to be Palladium, you guys. But up next, you guys, where's my button to push? Where's my button? Who's got the button? Who's got the button? Coming up next is going to be the return of Rain Man. That's right, Rain Man is coming back for another week, you guys. However, I need to make Rain Man shiny. There we go. But Rain Man is going to be a fully bold defensive nature set, just because it helps us against the Entei, as well as the Zygarde, and that's really what it's supposed to do, is just to handle those two primarily. It can potentially go against other mons if it wants to. However, this is where it's going to thrive. Scald, definitely for the Entei, we two-shot it. Ice Beam, we two-shot the Zygarde. Psyshock is going to be there even for the Hitmontop as well. And then Slack Off for just general recovery. We have leftovers. The ability should actually be Regenerator. I did not do this right. But yeah, Rain Man is very standard this week, just because the standard set is going to be what allows us to bulk out a lot of those hits. I think even a Sacred Fire Adamant Banded from Entei attack. That sentence was so jumbled. Oh my god. A Banded Sacred Fire... Banded Adamant Sacred Fire attack from Entei will only do, I think, 33% to us. So we can easily get that back with Regenerator and leftovers. Easily. And there's not really much more to say about Rain Man, just hopefully we will be able to use it effectively as we have in the past, kind of being the MVP last week with that Trick Room against Anthony. Coming up next, we are going to be rocking out with Liability, the Crocodile, coming up Coming up this week, very, very interesting set. This is that set that I told you guys about where we could potentially catch Mark on a very bad switch into his Gyarados, just because Gyarados, where this plays in is if Hitmontop is no longer around, or the Hitmontop is not bred at all. The Gyarados can come in prior Mega Evolution. I can fire off an Electrium Z Thunderfang, and we can easily knock it out. The flip side of that is I'm running Moxie this week. We would need a +1 Moxie to guarantee the knockout. We outspeed it by... we outspeed the Mega Gyarados before any Dragon Dances, so that's really helpful. Earthquake, of course, for General Stab. Knockoff for General Stab helps out with a lot of things. And Stone Edge, hopefully we'll be able to land one against Thundurus, and he will miss a Focus Blast. Moving on now, our next member of the team is going to be Periwinkle, our Florges, you guys. Periwinkle is going to be there to help live any special attacks from his team, mainly being the Thundurus, the Espeon, the Cryogonal, and the Aromatisse. Gengar, not so much, unfortunately, and it's very tricky with Thundurus, I will say, just because Thundurus can get Sludge Bomb. And if that is the case and he gets the poison, he can easily two-shot us at that point with a Timid Life Orb set. So if he's modest, he's definitely getting the kill. However, if he's like Timid Life Orb, Sludge Bomb after leftovers is guaranteed a 3-KO. So I do have a very standard set here as well. Moonblast, Toxic, Wish, Protect, just to go ahead and be able to live as many hits as I can, especially with Wish Protect. We can try and Wish Pass onto something if we can. However, Florges is going to need that Wish better than a lot more than any other member, I feel. Toxic is going to be there to handle a lot of walls, or a lot of Pokemon that just like want to set up, like the Mega Gyarados. We might be able to live one Earthquake from it, or even an Iron Head. The Entei and the Thundurus, I know, don't want to take them. The Thundurus especially, if we can get a Toxic off on the Thundurus, that'll be really nice. The Zygarde, the Hitmontop, the Cryogonal, we can Toxic a lot of different things. The only big issue is, like, I wanted to run Aromatherapy, however, I felt Toxic was the more important move to bring this week. I might regret that at the end of the day, just because he does have Sacred Fire. And I don't want things burned, so it's you know, if it happens, it happens. We'll have to play around it, make sure that we play correctly. But Florges, hopefully we'll just be able to tank it out and get off a couple good Moonblasts, especially against that Gengar switch-in, that very obvious Gengar switch-in. If we can get a special attack drop, that would be really nice. But now moving into like our hard hitters for the week, you know, once again, it's kind of hard to fall back into just standard sets, but these standard sets are there for a reason. Like the really only special set is going to be Palladium, but yeah. But for this next one, you guys do see him on the screen. It's going to be not Hiruzen. It is going to be the Blazing Squid, ladies and gentlemen, the Infernape. And the reason for this name change is Squid helped me build this week, and like we both were just at a loss, and we were playing with a lot of sets, and you know, I honestly thank him from the bottom of my heart for helping me, because he understands summons better than I can, for sure. He's a better battler than me by far, I will say that right now. And to have his help on such a really clutch match is really helpful. And from that, from just talking with him, you know, just chatting it up, having fun, I found out that I'm the reason why he has his name. For those of you who don't know, a previous season in the LDL, I think it might have been season 2 or season 4, I want to say. It was quite a while ago. But Squid won against me with Infernape, who he had that season, because I knocked it into the Blaze range. And because we already called him Squid, he's like, yo, Blazing Squid is the perfect name, because of this Infernape. And so it's honestly because of the battle versus me that Squid even has his YouTube channel name, which, you know, it's really cool. I never knew that before until like maybe a few hours ago when we were finished team building. So like it's really cool. And so because of that, you know, I can't think of a better honor than to rename our Infernape Blazing Squid for the rest of the season. You know, we will have to face him with it. And you know what? He already did the honor of naming his Mega Swampert in another league after us, so it's just throwing the love around for sure. But Hiruzin's going to be Choice Scarf this week, 204 attack, just to guarantee to outspeed that Thundurus by 1 point. I don't think he's going to run max speed Cryogonal, even though it could, even though that could be the case. However, I don't see him scarfing it at all. If that is, like, I seriously don't see it, but yeah, it's a pretty standard set here. Once again, 252 attack, Jolly Nature, Flare Blitz, close combat, of course, general stab, general coverage, U-turn for that switch initiative. It's going to be really nice on the Mega Gyarados, or even close combat and stuff. But I will say the big thing here is going to be Mach Punch, which is probably really weak, Scarf Mach Punch, but I need to have a safety net in regards to the Bisharp and the Mega Gyarados. Mega Gyarados is a little bit trickier. The Bisharp we can easily, I think, one-shot with this Mach Punch just because it is times 4 effective. However, with the Mega Gyarados, if it does decide to get up a couple Dragon Dances up, and I think the game's over, I can easily send in Blazing Squid here and Mach Punch. He just needs to be at, I think, I want to say around 40% to guarantee the knockoff, so we still have to do work against it. Ugh. My apologies, it's really, really late at night to put in the work, but it's just that safety net just for any potential setup mons on the physical side, being the Bisharp and the Mega Gyarados. And last but not least, ladies and gentlemen, a Pokemon I just do hope puts in the work this week. It's going to be Jack, our Jolteon. Jack is back with the Life Orb, Volt Absorb, to handle that Thundurus a little bit better, even though it may not go for the Electric-type moves. Volt Switch Thunderbolt, of course. Hidden Power Rock really does a good amount. It helps take 2 shots to both the Thundurus and the Entei, surprisingly. Even does a little bit of damage to the to the Cryogonal, as long as it's not Assault Vested. And Shadow Ball, of course, for the Gengar. Thunderbolt does do the work as well, just because we are Life Orb. However, if it's like a calc or something, or if I feel safer going for Shadow Ball than Thunderbolt with the Thundurus there, then I'm gonna go for the Shadow Ball. But yeah, 250. Let's see, no, 228 in speed. Modest nature. I'm gonna actually go ahead and I still have 4 points to distribute. But Modest Nature, just because we do outspeed everything before any Scarfers, which is super, super awesome. So I sped crept up on the Espeon and the Gengar. We outspeed them by 1 point. So being Modest Nature is allowing us to hit extremely hard, especially with that Life Orb. And this is going to be our main way to really hit and take care of a lot of threats very quickly. As long as the Bisharp doesn't have Sucker Punch, which I highly doubt it won't. So that is going to be our team this week, you guys. Let me know what you guys think down below in the comments, what you think I should have brought. You know, there was a big debate whether or not I should have brought Salamence instead of Crocodile, because they could almost do the same thing, but Crocodile just helped with a lot of coverage and resistances, as well as, you know, I could have brought Komala, I could have brought Ormaldo, like, I could have brought so many other things that, you know, it's just, like I said, this was just a tough team builder. But I'm going to get up out of here. Thank you guys so much for watching. I'll see you later.